The 419 with Gretchen DeBacker, Matt Killam, and Kevin Mullen.
Welcome into the 419, powered by WGTE and presented by Wheatro Wealth Management. I'm Kevin Mullen.
Gretchen DeBacker.
Matt Killam.
It's episode 100, guys. We made it. 100.
That's right.
It's a century of shows.
It's crazy. We're the 100 emoji right now. Oh, brother.
Yeah, what a youthful thing to say.
Man.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Our audience
it
got
both
that.
simultaneously feels like it and doesn't. It's actually a good time to mention, in full candor, the people that do the real work and keep us on track. Rich is just behind the cameras. Caleb is in the studio. We have Nathan. We have Angel. And those people are all integral in bringing us.
You left one person out.
You left the executive producer out.
Not. I don't acknowledge that individual.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, he's the leader of the pack.
That's
That
what he
changed.
said.
We do have a fantastic team behind us here at WGTE, and I talk all the time about how much I enjoy coming in and starting a day with you guys.
Yeah.
I tell other people that. I haven't told you
we've
guys that.
we've never received the benefit.
But we got a great sort of family here at WGTE, and it's been wonderful being a part of it for 100.
I think sort of family is the best descriptor.
It's like we're members of a group.
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
right.
I think it's a nice nod to us.
Oh my
Is
God.
the signature of kind of the original podcast is
Right.
only one of us knows who the guest is, and I know that we make this joke, and obviously Matt is the worst at keeping the secret of any of us, but we legitimately don't know who the guest is. Did you write Grumpy again?
Nope. Oh, no.
No.
Nope. I wrote the name that can't be spoken.
Okay, you mean the one you already said?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
It can't be said 3 times.
In addition to the mystery guest, we're also going to have our friend Sam Melden on the
Yes.
program.
I think if my calculation is correct, no pressure on the mystery guest, but it is our 100th episode.
It's our 100th episode.
Hey,
so we
hey.
brought in the big guns. We have our city council, well, not yours. We have our city council representative, Sam Melden. So I hope he's prepared for some hard-hitting questions.
That's right. I've got some serious questions
Yeah.
about
Traffic and leaves.
and trash and sidewalks.
Yeah, all the stuff.
All the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Streetlights. Can we talk about streetlights? Let's talk about streetlights.
All right, let's talk about
fire. Here we go. Tell me who your guest is.
clue. This
Their
person,
name is?
this person is a man.
Okay.
Okay.
This person has had a long career, but he started his work life as a journalist.
Dale Emch.
How did you know that?
Because we're friends, and that's what friends do. They know things about each other.
I didn't tell him. But the guest is Dale Emch.
Wow, you really gave that one away. All right, well, I guess when we come back, we're going to talk to Dale Emch.
Yeah.
On here on the 419. We'll be right back.
Support for the 419 comes from Wheatro Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at wheatroadvisors.com.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you. Thank you.
Welcome back into the 419, powered by WGTE, the 100th episode, and the first time that we've had, I think, successfully guessed
A successful guest and a swear word.
And
Yeah.
Gretchen can't keep her mouth clean.
Yeah. That took a long time to get there.
I think
I feel like I should get credit.
Every time Gretchen swears, a Muppet dies.
Yeah, you jumped right on that.
Yeah.
One clue.
But you don't know, Dale, is I guess you every mystery guest. Even when they're my own.
So the mystery guest is indeed Dale Emch. You had other clues that
I
you
did.
really wanted to give.
Okay, so I have journalist, high-level participant in the legal system, bat wrangler, friend and neighbor,
Yes.
and Ohio State University graduate. And also, one of the cool things our National Public Radio, our FM 91 listeners may recognize as they celebrate their 50th anniversary, Dale's father's law firm was a longtime supporter of FM 91. And I remember even as a kid hearing the ad for, or the promotion for Emch, Schaefer, Schaub, and Porcello, which was a law firm that supported National Public Radio in the morning.
Yeah.
And you were the son, and now here you are.
And here I am,
on an
right
FM
here.
91 show.
On public television.
Your name is frequently mispronounced. It's pronounced Dale.
You got that right.
Yeah. You got it. Yeah. Heavy on the D.
So Dale, walk us through, if people don't know you, Gretchen says you're highly involved in the legal system. Kind of catch us up on who is Dale Emch.
I am the law director for the city of Toledo. So I'm the chief legal advisor to the city apparatus, the mayor, city council members, all the city administration, the offices, the police department, fire department, public utilities. And
City Municipal Court, prosecutor.
I am statutorily, yes. The head of the prosecutor's office, even though I wouldn't know how to prosecute a case. But we have a chief prosecutor over there who's running things from day to day. So, and then I run the department.
Can
Dale,
you talk to,
before
to find out so that Matt's case can get dismissed on Friday?
Dale, let me ask you a question. How do you fill in time for all the thank yous and pats on the back you get? I mean, how do you balance the good faith, the notes under the door, the edible arrangements?
The community, the support is overwhelming.
Yeah.
As well as from the clients.
Yeah, that's right.
Just because of general love of lawyers, but also...
I mean, you're only 24 years old. You look terrible.
That's right. Yeah. So not only a lawyer, but government lawyer. So
sure.
Very popular.
That's right.
2 for 2. But you and I had a reason to call Dale several years ago. I'm not sure if it's my story. I can call and tell it.
Another story.
But I don't know what it was. I got a letter from the city. I owed money that I didn't realize that I owed, and called Dale and not like.
That's called fraud, Kevin.
Not
Am I
like
saying that word right?
Yeah, no, but not like called like a friend, but like ended up calling the office, ended up talking to Dale, and was very kind, kind of walking through.
Well, let's talk
the
about that
process and
because
taking care of it.
So many things, and you and I started on the first day of the Kavich administration together. I remember standing in the hallway before we even knew where offices were, trying to figure everything out. But so many calls land in the law department, many because people don't know where else to send them. But what kind of does your day look like as the law director? There's a number of members of the law department. So can you just talk a little bit about what your role is day to day?
A lot of meetings, as you know, and it really changes day to day, and that's what makes it interesting.
Sure.
Is that yes, I can come in with a schedule, but that schedule can get turned over on its head.
And the drive-in.
Really, and
Sure.
and there can be phone calls in the drive-in, and then suddenly we're off to the races, going in a different direction, and that's kind of part and parcel with being in the mayor's office. Is you know better than most, is that things move fast, and there's always a new issue that we have to deal with.
When you, let's go back in time, sort of, you grew up here in the city of Toledo. Can you tell us a little bit about your family and your dad's practice and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I grew up in the Sylvania area, and my dad was Richard Emch. He was the firm Emch, Schaefer, Schaub, and Porcello, as you mentioned. It was a patent law firm, and so great childhood. I had 3 brothers, and my mom, who was a school teacher.
Where'd you teach?
She was a kindergarten teacher most of her career, and at Highland Elementary School.
Dale, I'd forgotten this, but and so forgive me, but where do you fit in the order of the birth order? Third. All right.
Favorite child.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most well adjusted.
Yeah. Actually, we have some family members who send us in. Yeah.
Your wife is here also. She'd like to.
Yeah.
And so
Extra surprise
That's
guest.
right.
Yeah.
So you went to Ohio State University. What did you study there?
Journalism. Yeah, I
And that's where the money came.
That is where the money came in.
Yeah.
I was always tracking the money. It was journalism and then government lawyer.
100%.
So chasing it the whole way.
Yeah.
So no, I was a journalism major. I thought I was going to go into sports public relations. And then I fell in love with the newspaper side of the business. And I did that for 18 years, went to a few different newspapers, and was fortunate enough to end up at the Blade.
And you had the county beat for a long time.
Yeah, I had the courts beat, and then I ended up on the county side. When I started law school, I ended up covering county government.
Dale, you are a sports nut, or the sports portion of it was because you're a big athlete? What was that?
I liked sports when I was a kid. I grew up playing sports, and not particularly well, but I grew up playing them, and I liked them. And but honestly, the closer I got to it, the less I was interested in being part of it day to day. And so I liked when I...
That's how my dad feels about me.
Yeah, I don't want to scar you, but yeah.
It's okay. It's not you.
He told me.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
No, but it was when I got to the hard news part of journalism is that I really enjoyed that. And
So back in the day, I mean, we're talking, this was in the 80s and 90s, right? Definitely you're much older than all of us. But the 80s and 90s, there were, it was just a different time for journalism. It was pre...
yeah, there was it.
It existed.
It existed.
But at any meeting, you guys would be around. Ignacio, I remember seeing around doing all the city stuff, just sort of lurking. People were worried or afraid when you guys showed up. Can you just talk a little bit about what that time was like, and
the predatory nature of it?
I mean, you're right. I mean, the newspaper, The Blade, had a tremendous amount of influence and power. And I think it helped shape the conversation every single day.
It made for a conversation.
It made for a conversation. And we had so many reporters. When I got to The Blade, it was honestly like hard to find a desk because we had so many journalists in that building. And it's unfortunate, but that they are still trucking along.
Yep.
And my wife
is
that's how we met, and she's the executive editor of the Blade, Kim Bates. I should shout her out.
Talk to me about why. I mean, as a fellow formal journalist, I say recovering journalist.
Yeah.
I mean, why is it important, right? Why is a local daily paper important?
I mean, it's a way for the citizens to know what their elected officials are doing. They have that watchdog role.
That's right.
And and just that influence to again let everybody know what's going on and to keep everybody honest. And it's difficult, as Gretchen knows, because she was part of the person who helped shape the message for the administration. It's difficult to know how to navigate that all the time, but I think for the most part, all of us in government realize how important it is to have good relationships with the journalists.
I think it's a real loss. I mean, it's a real loss to society look at what's happening on the federal level and the corruption, and there's not enough eyeballs on it because there's not enough people that are doing the reporting on it.
Well, indiscriminate of your belief structure or your politics, one thing is certainly, I think without debate, is that we are to blame, meaning the consumers. We no longer have enough information even to make the decisions for ourselves. Either we're getting something based on clicks that we've already made that makes us more furious because of our belief structure, right? But we've done the clicks. I mean, I constantly joke with Gretchen about having to scroll through my newsfeed, and by newsfeed, that's very generous. As I get through all the Kardashian stuff and Pete Davidson or whatever, and I'm like, why am I? Because you clicked it, you idiot, right? But there's a rare book that I read. I'm sure I was forced to by a professor called "Amusing Ourselves to Death," and the tenet of the book was that this is now 20 years ago. It focused on the bumper sticker as being the first step in this direction, but its contention was, let me get this straight, your belief in such challenging cultural debate or decisions like pro-life or pro-choice, your entire belief structure fits on the back of your car in this little piece here. And that was pre-scroll even, right? So then came the scroll where you got all the information about third world debt and the political structure with 4 or 5 sentences. And we can blame journalism, I guess, but we're the ones that aren't supporting it or consuming it in the way.
And now you're posting on X constantly, right? I mean, making your views known.
Yeah, well, first of all, that's based on what you need.
But speaking of posting, though, Dale, you are a notorious lurker.
I am a lurker.
You don't post anything. You don't. I mean, on social media, not in people's windows. But you don't post anything.
That's an important distinction.
On social media.
No.
Do you find it? You don't like it?
Soul stealing.
Yeah. Demoralizing. What's the word?
Yeah.
Honestly, there was a time when I would gently post about politics and on Facebook or something like that, and I realized there was one moment when I was getting people who I know and really care about upset. And I thought, I'm not changing anybody's mind here at all.
Yeah.
And so I just sort of had a policy in place not to post. And part of it is my position. I mean, I don't think it's really appropriate for me to weigh in on a lot of things.
Do you remember sort of tail end of your journalism career, kind of the moment where you realized this isn't what I want to do for the rest of my career?
I had always had in the back of my mind the idea of being an attorney. I didn't, there wasn't a path forward immediately. And then as I started to cover the court system, both in Fort Wayne and in Toledo, I just was like, this is fascinating to me. And it's not surprising. I'm the kid of a lawyer like you and like Gretchen. And so I decided to give it a shot and go to law school. And the Blade was kind enough to allow me to go to night school. That was a big deal because, I was having to crank out my story on deadline and then rush off to class. And so I was in the night program and it was a big hustle for 4 years.
Are any of your brothers lawyers? You have one brother that's a lawyer, yes?
I have 2 brothers who are lawyers, yeah. The
guy
right above me.
You guys should start another firm together.
Emch.
Yeah.
Dale, at the risk of putting you on the spot, and in full candor, I love you. You're a dear friend. You just mentioned something about not posting based on your position. It's difficult to be somebody, and these are my words, not to make you uncomfortable. You're of high moral standard and have a lot of integrity. At least that's what you wrote down for me to read. You are a human being, right? So, I mean, things happen and they make you feel a way, and you have to not necessarily tamp that down is maybe the best way to articulate it, but you have to be measured. How do you find that balance? I mean, do you have like a heavy bag in your garage that you go out and just pound the crap out of? How do you stay tranquil?
Well, anybody who is around me a lot knows that I have no shortage of opinions.
Yeah,
so maybe
sure.
I'm not
and that's
posting
why there's
on
not a lot
social
of
media,
those people.
But no, I like my job is to be a behind-the-scenes guy. I feel like, I don't feel like the job is to be of support to the mayor, to the deputy mayor, and to the city administration as well as council, and to be somebody who helps take their policy initiatives and, be able to help them navigate the legal difficulty. And so the behind-the-scenes approach, I think, is of necessity.
One of the first things that you worked on when you came to the city, we just have a few minutes left before this segment, was the water deal. Can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, I remember that very first day, standing in the lobby of the office. We were calling the mayor because this was like an imminent thing, and all of this stuff changed. It was very exciting, but it was dealing with all of the other municipalities, trying to get this deal together. Can you talk just a little bit about that process and your involvement in it, and how you got up to speed on municipal law?
Yeah, we were really pedaling fast on that one. What Gretchen's talking about is what became the regional water deal. When we came in, there was an idea of creating a separate water utility where we would no longer own the water plant. It would be owned by a separate political entity that would have been created. That ran in not that much longer after we came in into a lot of political choppy waters.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, what was going on behind the scenes, what was driving it is that the folks in the suburban communities were unhappy about the way in which they view they were being treated by the city of Toledo, and their position was that we were weaponizing water. And as a former utility director said, it's not a good model when half of your customer base is upset with you. And so
AT&T has never felt that way.
Yeah,
They're shooting for that 75% range. Pardon me, Dale.
No, that's okay. So we created the regional water system, and that just means that the folks in the region, the Sylvanias, the Maumées, and Perrysburgs, have a seat at the table to talk about water rates and the way we invest in our utility. And it's been important because I think that the mayor showed that he was a different type of mayor. He was going to be a cooperative regional mayor, and even though it was really difficult right off the bat, I think that helped show everybody out there that he was concerned with trying to grow as a region and trying to be a leader in the region.
Probably also helped you guys be even more cohesive as a team.
Oh yeah, it was difficult. It was interesting.
We're talking with Dale Emch, Gretchen's mystery guest here on the 100th episode of the 419. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation with Dale on the 419, powered by WGTE.
To me, community means connecting to others.
I'm Donnie Miller, and welcome to The Point.
I love CBS Kids!
We're a community committed to education. Discover new ideas, dive into exciting subjects, and engage with the world around you.
I would send them personally a t-shirt. Crime doesn't pay in the Old West End, pass it on. That's how we cleaned up the neighborhood.
Vision loss for people is not the end.
It's a story. It's the next chapter.
WGTE Public Media invites you to Get Out and Play Day.
Monday through Friday, it's the 419, powered by WGTE. With Matt Killam, Gretchen DeBacker, I'm Kevin Mullen. What can people expect on the show?
It's going to be an hour, a reminder of why this is a great place to live, work, and play.
WGTE, where you come to watch, listen, and learn.
Welcome back into the 419. We're talking with the law director for the city of Toledo, Dale Emch, who is Gretchen's mystery guest.
Yes.
And not just a mystery guest, but also...
Yeah, the mystery to me is if you had to describe, I know we're going to give Gretchen's wacky quiz to you, but if you had to describe Gretchen's lawn care and just general outdoor maintenance in just one phrase, negligence you can't use, how would you describe it? And let me tee it up for you. Gretchen has had a nutcracker statue in her front yard since the first Bush administration.
That's been gone for weeks.
Oh, it must have collapsed.
It rusted out.
Weeks. That's been gone for weeks.
The squirrels finally got to it.
I got notice from Sam
You are
Melden to
also
take it down.
Gretchen's neighbor.
I am Gretchen's neighbor and caretaker.
How often are you delivering, you know, a cup of flour or an egg or something that Gretchen has?
He doesn't do that so much as I'll say, Dale, there's water coming out of this thing in the basement. Would you come over? And he comes over and then he YouTubes it and then fixes it.
There's a lot of YouTubing. There's a lot of snow blowing.
Yes,
There's
so
a lot
he
of
does
carrying in of Amazon packages.
He takes my trash cans in and out every day.
Oh, Dale.
Every week, I mean.
Yeah.
Which I don't even ask him to do. He just does.
But I do think, though, that one of the things, my favorite Gretchen experience, my mother and stepfather live catty corner or kitty corner from Gretchen. One of my favorite Gretchens is that she leaves her porch light on. That's end of sentence. The only time that's truly problematic is Halloween.
I forget.
Because Gretchen leaves town, or she goes to the former Masonic to worship, as she does, which is a different show. And kids are lined up, kids ringing the doorbell.
Good thing for me,
all they want is a candy bar.
Yeah, they're like, well, the light's on. You know,
and the doorbell doesn't work.
What's been the hardest part about being Gretchen's neighbor?
The stench.
I am very fortunate. Gretchen's a great neighbor.
Thank you, Dale.
Who did you buy your house from?
Yes, Dale and my former next door neighbor, Keith Wilkowski,
and
bought
the
the house. And the Amoris.
Mike and Laura Amori.
And Dale's
How many of
wife,
those people
Kim.
have moved out?
Yeah.
2 of the 3.
That's right. Yeah,
But they renovated the house and then I bought it from them.
Wait a second, like
in
the
a total
neighbors-
scam deal.
The neighbors bought the house.
Yeah.
Three couples bought the house because we were concerned because of the state that it was in at the time that it was going to be sold and there were going to be, I love UT students, but we thought it would be packed with a bunch of UT students, and so
And you were already playing too much beer pong, Dale.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you couldn't.
I probably missed out.
You couldn't plug in another day.
Really hit the nail on the head there when the goal was to avoid getting a negligent neighbor.
Yeah.
I'm
then
not
Gretchen
negligent, but
moved in.
the best story about Dale Emch ever, I've lived there almost 10 years now, is when he wrangled a bat out of the house.
I did.
He put a trench coat over his head. We opened the doors. He got
She
it
came
out.
in fully nude. Trench coat.
I went from hero to like coward with a trench coat, hiding.
Sort of the reverse superhero trope.
Glasses.
Yeah. The bat ended up killing himself.
Yeah.
So, as a fellow Dragon Slayer, this is a show, it's on PBS, WGTE, so there's a lot of education on this program, as you'd expect. They'll give us some tips to bat wrangling.
first look up on YouTube. How do I get rid of a bat?
Right.
And then you go out, you open the windows. That's what they always tell you to do. Open the windows because the bat wants to get out.
Turn the lights on off inside the house.
Yeah, and leave the porch light on for 5 years.
Because they want to go towards. They want to go towards the light.
That's right. Yeah.
So you are attempting to get back onto some sort of a track here. So city law director. I know we talked about the water deal. I'm interested in what are other kind of daily interactions that somebody in the city may have that you can say, well, that's the role of the city law department, right? That's something that I would have purview over that people may not realize they've interacted with you or something within your responsibility.
Again, we're the behind the scenes people, and so we're to stand up what it is that the mayor and the council members want to do. But you had Brandon Selhorst on not long ago, and Brandon and the mayor had a great idea about the Community Investment Corporation, standing that up again, where it takes the income from the Joint Economic Development Zone in Rossford and channeling it into this Community Investment Corporation, and then leveraging that money by being able to go out for bond, making shovel-ready sites. So those folks came up with the idea. We were the behind the scenes of helping to navigate the legal waters. But the place where I think most people, unfortunately, interact with us would be over at municipal court. And because they're over there because they're defendants, or they're over there because they're victims, and we're trying to help them. And so I think that's probably our most public-facing piece as the prosecutor's office.
You have already a lot of hardware in your case, or trophy case. So there's probably a multitude of answers to this question, but Dale, is there a particular project or something that you've been a part of that has put wind in your sails or that you're particularly proud of?
Well, Gretchen touched on it earlier. I'm proud of the role that our department played in the regional water. It was, through the mayor's leadership that we were able to do that. But again, that's a consequential thing that I don't think most people in the community would have any reason to realize it's consequential. And it's consequential because we were able to secure a regional water system that's going to be stable for at least 40 years because we locked everybody into long-term contracts. And so I feel good about that. It was providing stability with that system.
Yep. This is going to, this will be a difficult question to pose, but I'm curious at this. I am not an attorney based on a Gumpian intellect. But if you were to describe what good counsel is, how do you describe it?
Listening, really understanding what the client's objective is, and then, hitting the books and trying to help them navigate difficult waters. We're kind of, at least in our role, we're the woe or no people.
Sure.
A lot of the time, which is frustrating because the mayor and the council members, they want to do.
Let's do this.
Yeah, let's go, and that's their job. That's what they want to do, and so there's a natural tension there. But being able to understand what they want to do and trying to get them there, and trying to get them there in a way that is legally acceptable.
Can you talk a little bit about the team, about the department? There's some people there that have served a long period of time, but also the different sort of subject matter experts that you have in the office.
Yeah, without the team, it wouldn't be possible. I mean, I don't get to practice law on a day-to-day basis just because of being, the administrator for the office. So I rely on all of the attorneys. We have 29 lawyers in the department.
Who's the worst one?
I can tell you who some of the best people are. But our general counsel is Paul Searing, who's been with the department for 25 years. He's just a wealth of knowledge. And
he's so calm.
He's so calm, and he heads the general division. Jeff Charles is our litigation chief, and Jeff has been with the department for 20 years plus. And then Rebecca Facey has been with the city a shorter amount of time, but about 3 years as our chief prosecutor. But she came to us as an experienced attorney from the county prosecutor's office with a real expertise in domestic violence prosecutions, and so important. Yeah. And so a wonderful team, and then we just have a bunch of really talented lawyers that I would put up against a lot of the law firms in the city. I've had good fortune of being able to attract some younger attorneys from firms because we're able to offer them an interesting practice and a lifestyle as well, where they're not grinding on billable hours all the time.
And it's really everything. I mean, people sue the city. You sometimes have to sue other people. People think that the city should be responsible for something, car accidents, maybe injury cases. Then you have all the HR issues. Then you have all of the administrative issues. Then you have union-related issues. I mean, it really is the gamut of a huge civil law firm.
Yeah, the scope of the work is enormous. And you're right, we spend a lot of time defending cases where most frequently when we're litigating, we're in federal court a lot. And that's an interesting part of our practice. But yeah, it's a huge scope. And then just providing the advice in addition to doing the sort of more traditional lawyering things I think people would expect.
You mentioned you're the woe or no people, right? So I'm curious, what are the guardrails that your department uses, right? I mean, is it
prison?
Is it I mean, like, but are you going back to municipal code, state law, constitution, documents, or some of this just a sort of doomsday scenario going, man, this could really end up here?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly, part of our role is to be advisors, as the council part of it. But no, we would start first with our city charter. That's our sort of backbone, our Bible. And then, of course, everything you just said, the Constitution and our municipal code and state law to a lesser extent.
Is there anything that you've wanted to do that, either with the department or in the city that hasn't been able to happen yet?
Besides quit.
I don't want to quit. No, what I've tried to do is position the department to be able to provide the support to the administration. I keep going back to that because that's really our role. Mm-hmm. We've done some important things, again, that public-facing forum, which is we beefed up the way we handle domestic violence cases. And so that's an important thing.
Unfortunately, an important thing.
Yeah, it's so important, and there's such difficult cases to prosecute. But that's something where I think that we've changed things up a little bit with the direction that Rebecca has given.
So Dale, again, at the risk of putting you on the spot, you handle an overwhelming amount of things. You're the son of a prominent attorney. Where do you seek counsel, and have there been times when you're in your office and you're like, can I handle this? I mean, you are incredibly smart and certainly competent, but again, you're a human being and you're dealing with really complex things, both in text, but also human beings on the other side of it, right? So have you ever been like, I'm gonna hit the panic button here?
All the time.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, really, all the time. We've got a good internal team. I've got a group of people that I turn to in those situations. But my in-laws have been in the legal community forever. Judge Bates and Julia Bates, the county prosecutor, and so Julie has been the prosecutor for 30 years, and so she knows a lot about what it means to represent people in the government, and so I certainly will turn to both of them for advice, and then every now and again I'll reach out to a predecessor, and see how they might have handled a situation.
All right, Dale, you have the pleasure of living next to Gretchen.
Yeah.
So clearly you know what it's like to have fun. It's now time for Gretchen's Wacky Quiz. I'm going to ask 4 rapid fire questions. Gretchen's going to ask you to describe Toledo in one word, and you and Matt are going to list off the 9 best things in Toledo. All right? Question number 1, which apps do you use most?
And remember that we have FCC rules here.
YouTube. Sorry.
ChatGPT and Claude lately.
Okay. What was your favorite book growing up?
Salem's Lot.
Creepy answer.
Creepy.
That's how they're knocking at your window. Don't let him in.
How good are you at drawing?
Very, very bad.
Drawing?
Drawing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then what's your favorite dance move?
Oh, boy.
Oh, God.
The
It would have to be like the John Travolta thing, right?
Yeah. You should change that up. Okay, so what's the one word?
John Travolta just died.
What's the one word you would use to describe the city of Toledo?
Home.
Nice.
My man.
Okay.
All right,
good.
buddy. You and me, 9 words are your favorite parts of the city and or region.
Yeah, 9 words I associate with the city, which Kim.
Change it any way you want.
Family, community.
Kim, family, community. Okay, that's 3.
Livability.
Livability. Okay.
Metro parks.
Thank you.
Restaurants, affordability.
Restaurant affordability. Get to
and friendly people.
Nice.
Friendly people. That's only 8.
No, that's friendly people.
No, I get 9.
Friendly and people.
I don't recommend you litigate the lawyer.
No.
Yeah.
What is something that you and Kim would do on? You're not working. Neither of you are working on a Saturday morning. What are you gonna go out and do in the city?
Kim is probably going to go out
What's
for
Kim
a
gonna
very
make you
long
do?
run.
Yeah.
And I would maybe try to separately go out for a very slow, meandering run.
Okay.
Love it.
But yeah, that's the type of stuff. We that and getting on our bikes and pedaling around the city. And there's a lot of family stuff. My mom is still in town in Sylvania, so we'll visit her.
Dale, you kindly brought a gift.
I did.
As Gretchen requires.
Some Toledo swag.
Toledo
some City of Toledo swag.
Is this my
I love
part?
You
the
guys
little
can
tote.
fight over the tote bag.
Okay.
but
Which means I'm gonna get it.
Everybody,
Oh, cool.
Everybody gets a little
Nice.
coffee
I don't have
mug.
one of these.
This is so nice.
Yeah.
Thank
These
you.
are so cute.
Fighting for position on your table.
And I presume these are made of lead?
They're lead safe.
Yeah.
We're all about lead safe.
I love this. I'm
I
going
do
to
too.
use
I
this.
recommend
Thank you
yes,
so much.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Dale,
Thanks for
thank
being
you
here. Thanks
so
for being my
much.
surprise
Yeah,
guest and
thanks
my
for
neighbor.
having me, you guys.
Yeah, thanks
and
for being
for
a buddy.
taking my cans out tonight and forever.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
You know what? You're just enabling her. At some point, you have to teach self-reliance.
It's really it offends my aesthetic when I see them up
Yeah.
there, so I have to
Yeah,
take them
I
out.
can leave him out there all week. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's his problem, really.
You should train the bats to do it.
Dale Emch, thank you so much for joining us. We're going
Thanks,
to take a break.
guys.
When we come back, we'll be joined by our friend and Toledo City Councilman, Sam Melden, here on the 419, powered by WGTE.
Support for the 419 comes from Witro Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at witroadvisors.com.
Destination Toledo. Whether you're a local or a visitor, Destination Toledo invites you to explore the region and be a tourist in Toledo. Find events, dining, and things to do at visittoledo.org.
WorkSpring. HR issues and employee well-being go hand in hand. WorkSpring supports employers through compliance, training, and wellness because healthy workplaces don't happen by accidents. Learn more at workspring.org.
Toledo Refining Company, a subsidiary of PDF Energy. Toledo Refining Company is a supplier of fuels that keep our region moving. Located in Oregon, Ohio, the refinery processes crude oil into gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, and other petroleum products.
And TARTA, celebrating its 55th year of connecting Northwest Ohioans to their community. More information at tarta.com.
Welcome back into the 419, powered by WGTE. It's episode number 100.
100.
And so we're so blessed to have a good friend of the show, City Councilman Sam Melden.
What an
Sam,
honor to be here.
Welcome to the show.
100.
I know. Can you believe it?
Don't we
I
look
cannot.
great?
I can.
They almost let us get all the way to 101.
I love it.
And
Kim, before we start, can we talk about my favorite comment online in the history of online comments?
Yes.
It
So
involves
good.
two of my.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
The best description of our show.
I've never felt so offended and a compliment
I
at the
love
same
it
time.
And it
so
was out of
much.
nowhere. Okay, so let's say what
Pretty
it
good.
was.
I don't
was
have a lot of comment envy, right?
Yeah.
But I wish to any deity of the 3,000 made up ones that I had thought to say that.
Right.
It is so good.
So there was an article in the Blade written about our podcast.
Yeah.
And this was at a time when the Blade allowed comments
Yeah, right.
on their stories.
When Stiegel had,
Robert,
meeting.
they had. I hope there's like 7 different Robert Stiegels.
Yeah.
This is what ended the comments, actually. It said
Okay.
after this comment,
It was pretty
no
soon
point
after
to have
this.
any more.
Yeah, you
that
put your
wiped
pit
out.
bull on him.
Yep.
You know what? They were waiting for one person to win the comment section,
So
and this comment
good.
won, and it was the only redeeming quality of Kevin Mullen is that he's not Sam Melden.
Pretty good.
I have been laughing about that.
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes I get down, right?
Well,
And
the other thing is,
everybody does.
It's also so true.
But whatever.
It's accurate.
Whenever I'm down, whenever I'm feeling low,
That
right,
feels like an
I
insult.
dust that chestnut off.
Yep.
And then what it does is it I don't know a lot about physics, but it shoots me right to the top.
You got a tattoo of it.
It's in your wallet.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
That's right.
portrait.
Yep. Yeah, I keep a small binder.
Sam,
on
what
the
do you
wall.
think that comment means?
And what doesn't it mean? It means so much.
Yeah, it's
It
layered.
means so much to me.
It means so much.
It's layered.
I like that, the only redeeming quality. That's
Only.
pretty special.
There is not one complimentary
There's not
thing
a
in
single
the
other.
syllable of it. Yeah.
You both have good hair.
And at no point in the article did it mention Sam.
No.
I think it's a point of this.
Had nothing to do with me.
It's wonderful. And Sam, when did your mom write that?
Well,
She had it.
yeah, once she met Kevin, she knew right away.
She's been waiting to hit send.
She said there's at least one good thing about him.
Yeah.
That's right. I'll take it.
Oh, my gosh.
All right. So you serve as city councilman representing District 5,
Yep.
which is Gretchen and my neighborhood.
Yes.
Why, we ask this to most of our elected officials on the program, like, why have you done this to yourself, right? Of all the things that you could do to make a living, to build a community, to build a family, why run for city council?
Yeah, I mean, so for me, it truly is an extension of just making this community better. It's interesting, as you think about different things, the challenges that Toledo face, I think they're generational issues. They're systemic things that we have to solve. It's not just one resolution that we honor someone, or one ribbon cutting that you go to. It has to be thinking about issues beyond term limits and thinking about them really in terms of generations. And so my wife and I have 3 not so young anymore children, but when I started running for office, they were definitely single digits, and my youngest was, 2 or 3. And so I was thinking, what does this community look like when they're making a decision about where to live, where to buy a home, where to start a business, where to settle down, where to, come back from grad school and figure out what's next. And I hope that that's in the city of Toledo, but I certainly want to do whatever I can to make sure that it's in this region. And that's not just so my kids are nearby. It's not just a totally self-serving thing. But I think that if you think about that as your North Star, everything that it takes to make that type of community makes a better community for everyone. And for every other parent in Toledo, in the region, when they're thinking about what their kids need, it kind of addresses that too. So that's what got me into it. I've always been in nonprofit work. Public service is a lot like that. Certainly a more steady funding stream, but also more issues, more scrutiny. So it's all part of it, but I really think it is about the community.
Speaking of funding, municipal elected officials, certainly the mayor and council, speak through the budget that they pass, and the priorities are in that budget. Can you talk a little bit about the recently passed budget for this year? What are some priorities in there that you're pleased are in there, and how does that speak to what your priorities are for District 5 and the city?
Yeah, it's a great question. I had an old friend and mentor who said that, a budget truly is a story that you're telling. It's a visionary document. So you're right to say that that's how council and the mayor speak about what their priorities are. Right off the bat, it's important to know, think 70 to 80% is public safety. So that's just what the numbers are. And I think it's easy sometimes for media to look at what is being cut or what is different year over year. And so this past budget cycle was a tough process. We passed it on the last possible day that we are allowed to pass the budget.
Can you provide some context for 80% of this figure? I mean, is that $800 million?
Yeah, so think about it's like $1 billion budget.
That's what I thought.
And that includes Dale Emch's bloated salary?
No doubt about it. Yeah. Yeah.
And there's an 8 in it.
Yeah, that's right. No, so, we were getting a lot of kind of kickback this past year that, we waited until that last possible day. I would just say, how do you make a decision on spending $1 billion? Do you just do that overnight? Do you do that quickly? And then if you had 12 people, city council, all working together to do that, do you think that might take some time? And so I was glad that we were very deliberative about it. We had, a budget is fundamentally, your yes to one thing is your no to something else. And we don't have the pleasure, the luxury, I should say, of passing a budget that is not balanced.
Right.
We have to pass a balanced budget.
What's something you fought for to be included in the budget that got in, and what's something that you fought to get in that didn't?
Yeah, great question. 2 things. One, again, is with public safety. So last summer, we got a really great opportunity from a community partner, Mercy Health, to put a kind of a police substation near or in St. V's over on Cherry Street. And what that meant was moving the Northwest substation from Sylvania Avenue. That's in District 5. It's very, very important to my district and several neighborhoods there. And so, again, your yes to one thing is your no to something else. TPD has certain challenges they are faced with. If they move all their employees there, what do they need this building for? So I understand that, but we need to maintain a police presence in West Toledo. You know, whether or not it is a substation, that's a very interesting conversation. I think there's actually a framing problem that the community thinks that police officers are in and out of that building every single day, and that's not true, but that's what they think. And so how do we maintain a police presence in West Toledo? And so what we did in this past budget cycle, I fought for $500,000 to reestablish a community policing presence in West Toledo. And we're getting creative about how we do that, but that got in the budget, and I was very encouraged that my colleagues supported it. Something that did not get in, so we have a vibrancy initiative that has a 25 extra turns. So you've had Brandon Selhorst on, who's wonderful, and he's come up with worked with his team to come up with some new programs, but it's all under this umbrella of the vibrancy initiative. So a facade grant program, a white box program. This is what's supporting small businesses, helping them grow, take the next step, stay in Toledo, get off the ground at all. And there's a 25 extra turn. How many things in the budget, when you put $1 in, do you get $25 out?
Yeah, right.
Well, that's what's true with the vibrancy initiative. So every single budget I'm a part of, as chair of economic development and innovation, I try to plus that up as much as I can. I tried, and unfortunately we had to cut some things. And so we still funded it, but we're not going to be able to do as much as we have last year.
So,
or right around the same, I should say.
Sam, I work for an agency during my day job that has a lot of initiatives. Right, we have a monthly board meeting that has a packet created for it. I'm involved in 90% of that packet, and when it comes out for us to review, I actually have to review it, although I'm involved in the work. I teed that up to ask you, as I have your fellow council people, how can you possibly consume the amount of information that is provided to you? I mean, you can't be an expert in all things, right? But nonetheless, you have to be at least a surfacey level or have an understanding of the decisions you're making. How do you consume this information? And not actually on a real granular level, when do you do this you have a full-time job, you're a full-time dad, you volunteer. How does all this fit into what I would describe as at best a mediocre intellect?
Yeah. Well, you got the last part right, for sure.
You really ended that with a...
And it was generous, generous to say I'm a full-time dad. Yeah, that's good.
Well, the whole thing was generous.
No, that's right. I think that there's one very important distinction I would draw.
Okay.
Which is you, in your full-time job, you are a staff member of the organization. And I am not a staff member of the organization of the City of Toledo. I think it's very important to think about the city council members as the board of directors. You have a mayor who's the CEO, maybe the chairman of the board, depending on the business model, right? And then the city council is the elected board of directors. Their job is not to be a master of every single issue. Their job is to think about who do they represent. You have board members at your organization that represent the community. They are appointed to make sure that this organization kind of stays on the straight and narrow. They're headed in the right direction on behalf of the constituents they represent. That's really what elected office is. And so you have 12 members of council whose job is to say, no, we shouldn't spend $500 million on that one thing. No, we should make sure that this priority is reflected in the budget. Why is this issue taking so long? Why is that street being repaved with no pedestrian safety measures involved? And it's so kind of holding, it's a nice tension. It really is a check and balance from all of those, things that we learned in school about what government should be. And so the heart of your question is, how do you balance understanding everything that's on an agenda? And I would just say, I really rely on the directors and the chiefs at the City of Toledo, who this is their day job. They wake up every single day and try to do their best for the residents. So they get an inherent amount of benefit of the doubt right off the bat. Now, I have to still have scrutiny and have a critical eye and ask hard questions. But if I don't offer some benefit of the doubt, the same way board members at the Metro Parks offer you and your colleagues, then we are off on the wrong foot.
Right.
And so I think it's really important to start there.
What is the, University of Toledo is smack dab in the middle of District 5. It's an important partner to both to the city of Toledo and certainly to my neighborhood, Old Orchard. What's your relationship like with the new president of the university? Are you looking forward to, or have you already met the new athletic director? What's going on with the University of Toledo and the relationship with District 5?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So actually, it's technically just south of District 5, but
it's not in District 5?
No, but here's the reason you think that is you live in the neighborhood where I bet the majority of the employees of the University of Toledo also live.
So is it District 1?
I think it is.
Okay, I didn't know that. See?
But it's it's a large campus, and it does feel, it's certainly an important part of that part of our city. I would love to meet the new athletic director. I'm certainly rooting him on. I think that's a really, really important job, just like the president. And Dr. Holloway, I think I'm rooting for him as well, and all of the team that he's building and assembling. My relationship in particular is kind of as needed. I think there's an opportunity for the University of Toledo, and we're having some of these conversations, to really think about C-Corps.
Yeah.
So anyone in your neighborhood knows that I just said the S word, which is C-Corps Road. And so thinking about C-Corps, not just from Central at Kenwood, but thinking about it as a real pedestrian campus corridor from Central all the way to Door. I think that's a really interesting opportunity, and UT would be a valuable partner there.
I would like, if possible, for it to be made a federal crime.
Yeah.
Maybe since Dale's still here watching the show, some type of high-level crime.
Of course.
When leaving Westgate, Fresh Market, where it clearly says no left turn to go towards Central, and people go left all the time, it makes me want to.
Are you still standing there yelling at them when they do that?
No, I try to be a
yells
generous
at them
neighbor.
from within the boot barn.
I usually just hit their car. Is that wrong?
Well, a lot of people do.
But it's so frustrating because it's so dangerous. And I'm not trying to sound like an old lady, but it's so annoying because you have to go that. It's just, anyway. How many complaints or concerns do you get on a regular basis about that entire layout there?
Many.
Yeah.
So many. That's why I called it the S word. Look, but C-Corps Road is challenging. It's a very attractive retail corridor, an incredibly dense neighborhood around there. A lot of local businesses, a lot of destination retail.
Like
I think it's exactly. I think it's like the busiest Costco gas station in the state of Ohio. I heard, which is pretty.
That's the kind of announcement we want on this show, Sam. Thank you.
Go.
Yeah, one more time in the camera.
Anytime, buddy.
It's the best gas in Toledo.
Can we move north on C-Corps just a little bit?
Sure. Cross Central.
Yeah, let's cross Central. There is a giant flat earth piece of dirt.
I'm building a house there.
That development is coming, but we don't know what yet.
That's correct.
When will we know, and what are the priorities for you as District 5 City Councilman to bring to that development?
And why is it a Rite Aid?
Yeah, it was. No, I think so. A couple things. I think that it's really important to, first of all, the developer there, Bell Associates, Liz Holland, is a pro.
Yeah.
Her family has been invested on the other side of C-Corps, so that Costco side for Westgate for literally generations. I think actually Bell might be the oldest private landowner. So not institutional, not like the Catholic Church owning a school building or not like a public entity. The oldest standing private landowner. It's just really interesting. So we have a great development partner. We have some great density, very attractive retail. So you would be surprised then in 2020, I was sworn in January 2nd, 2020. 2020, a bad year to start anything, by the way.
Yeah, bad year, right. Except for a pandemic.
Well, sure.
It was good for that.
It was a great year to start.
It was an ideal time.
Whether we like it or not, it started.
Yeah.
So when an opportunity came across City Council's desk to subsidize discount retail in the old Elder Bierman building, I was not that excited about it. I did not think that putting out a tax incentive just to fill an old building with discount retail. Nothing against discount retail.
No.
We need all types. We need the whole combination. I didn't love that idea, so we actually said no.
Yeah.
So one of the first things I did in my tenure serving District 5 residents was say, no, we don't want that development.
Do better. Yeah.
And it took longer, and it took more effort, and we had to kind of combine some parcels and take down the building and remediate all of the issues that exist there. But I think what we're going to have instead, and we already approved the deal, so can't wait to see who's going to be there, we're going to end up with destination retail, which would be very, very exciting and worthy of that part of town and all of the city of Toledo.
Excellent.
City Councilman Sam Melden, thank you very much. We did not get a chance to get to Gretchen's Wacky Quiz, but we will do it on social media. So check it, follow us on all your social channels, and we'll do Gretchen's Wacky Quiz there. Thank you so much for joining us here on episode 100. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up this episode. I don't know what my words are, of the 419.
You laughed with us. You learned with us.
Hi, neighbor.
We made sure your childhood was special. Memories that could only be provided by PBS. For generations, we've given you programs that made a difference. Programs that entertained, informed, and inspired. And today is no different. This is WGTE Public Media in Toledo. It's where you belong.
Support for the 419 comes from Witro Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at witroadvisors.com.
Destination Toledo. Whether you're a local or a visitor, Destination Toledo invites you to explore the region and be a tourist in Toledo. Find events, dining, and things to do at visittoledo.org.
WorkSpring. HR issues and employee well-being go hand in hand. WorkSpring supports employers through compliance, training, and wellness because healthy workplaces don't happen by accidents. Learn more at workspring.org.
Toledo Refining Company, a subsidiary of PDF Energy. Toledo Refining Company is a supplier of fuels that keep our region moving. Located in Oregon, Ohio, the refinery processes crude oil into gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, and other petroleum products.
And TARTA, celebrating its 55th year of connecting Northwest Ohioans to their community. More information at tarta.com.
Welcome back into the 419, powered by WGTE, as we wrap up our mystery guest edition. I was nervous because it's you, Gretchen, but Dale
I don't understand that comment.
I don't either.
Yeah, because my guests have been stellar.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
and today was another example.
I can feel their beady eyes on us, so I can't say anything.
No, Dale was fantastic.
Dale was fantastic.
And I know of Dale, but I don't know that I really know Dale. So it was great to get a chance to kind of talk to him and, figure out how he tolerates you as a neighbor.
Yeah.
That was most interesting to me.
We didn't also talk about the view in his office, which is spectacular. Glass line, window lined.
And those windows are, of course, welded shut for good reason.
You can't jump out.
I will tell you that Dale has a perfect constitution for that job. He is measured, he is kind. Both of our guests I would describe certainly as kind, but he's a good listener. Having to be the no or wait person is really difficult. So you have to have the intestinal fortitude, which I candidly would really struggle with.
Yeah, I can't imagine sitting across the table from, Wade or Brandon Selhorst coming in with an idea they're excited about and being like,
I used to walk down there and be like, just hear me out.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
No, I can say
what
no
do
to
you think about this?
Yeah,
And he'd be like, get out of my office.
Why does it smell like gasoline in there?
And then, of course, thanks to Sam Melden, obviously, as somebody who is a friend of his, certainly has supported him politically, excited for the work and grateful for the work he does in our community. Enjoyed the conversation having him on the program. Of course, if you missed any part of the show, you can catch it 7 a.m. on YouTube, 3 p.m. on FM 91, or 6 p.m. on WGTE Connects channel 30.4. Of course, online 24/7, 365 at WGTE.org/the419, or download the new and improved WGTE app. Thanks to our guests and thanks to you for joining us on the 419, powered by WGTE and presented by Witro Wealth Management.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you. Thank you.